Hello and welcome, my name is Tobal. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to jump right into a tutorial on fleet management. So we're hanging out in a system with a bunch of friendlies. We're in second contact, and I noticed that my trader doesn't have an escort. So what I'm going to do is take this fighter that I've just built. It's a Nova class fighter, and I'm going to fleet it up with my freighter. I've selected my fighter, which is the subordinate, and I'm going to right click on the new fleet leader that I want to have. Alright, so you'll see new options down here, and so it's basically saying I want to assign the Fighter Alpha the role of defending the Mercury. Okay, so I've done that, and what's going to happen is your ship will automatically go to meet up with the parent ship. It's actually going to, I've given another order, a move order here before. So our current ship, our Mercury, is actually trying to get to this location. So as it happened when we joined up, the fighter tries to go to this location, but its default order will be to join with its parent. So it'll stay in close proximity during that time. So you see here I have a couple wings in action. I have a parented destroyer that's patrolling my home station system, and I have this freighter. It does tell you what sector they're in and what the makeup of the fleet is in case you just want to have these collapsed. So I have one trader and one fighter in one wing. I have one destroyer and one fighter in another wing. The wingmates will constantly stay nearby and always try to defend. Unfortunately, as I show these examples and I say that, of course we're having some weird behaviors. Egosoft is still working out some bugs. There's actually quite a few bugs that need to be worked out, but in general, that's how fleet management works. You'll give an order to a ship and it might get stuck. Really, this is something that we need to cover because you'll probably encounter this on your own. So right now this ship doesn't know what it's doing. If we go to its orders, let's take a look. It knows it should go escort this ship, but it still has a fly and wait command that it's executing. So let's cancel that fly and wait command and see if it knows to continue escorting, and it does. So it actually picked up its order to escort the trader, and it's going to go in close proximity to the trader. Cool, fine, no problem. You can in fact give your fighters and subordinates an order directly from the fleet menu. So if you've expanded this here, I can click the subordinate and say we're flying by and I want you to go check out this spot in space. He's going to fly over to this location, and when he finishes, in theory, he should immediately try to come back to his parent or fleet leader. At any time, you can click on the fleet leader, right click and recall subordinates to cancel all existing orders for your subordinates and have them come right back to you, which can be useful if you think that your subordinates are bugged out. Just right click and do recall subordinates. That's a real basic overview of formations. A couple other things there. There are some formations here. Sorry, I said fleets I said formations when I meant fleets. There are formations for your fleet. They're not, as far as I can tell, anything super useful. It might just look really nice. Maybe when you have a bigger fleet and you're starting to get into fleet versus fleet combat, although I've not seen any evidence that exists, that might come in handy. Your stars here don't necessarily represent the quality of the fleet or the formation, but they are prerequisites for your captain's level. So your captain has to be a 5-star in order to perform the echelon formation with all of its subordinates, for example. The other thing that's going to be important to note, if you're interested in cleaning up, like say you've got, I don't know, 50 drillers right here and you want to make a fleet with your drillers, it's not, as far as I can tell, going to work the way you want. So we've got 2 drilling vanguards here. I'm going to give it an order to mine for, right? This is what you would think you do. Mine for its parent. So we've created a new fleet. Here's the fleet leader. And the fleet leader still has its normal options, right? The fleet leader still has its normal behavior. It's set to mine a bunch of stuff, and when it's full, it goes to trade it. Okay, that's the fleet leader. That's what it's doing. It hasn't changed. The subordinate, though, has a couple of new orders. The first is to meet up with the drilling ship, or its parent, and then it'll assume a close formation. Now, here's what's interesting. Even though this is a mining ship, and we've assigned it to another ship under the mining order, it won't do that. At the moment, all they will do is follow each other around, and you cannot change the default behavior when your ship is in a fleet. So, as of right now, as far as I've come across, you cannot set your subordinate drillers to efficiently drill on their own. So if you wanted to, say, clean up your unassigned ship list, at the moment, not sure what to tell you. It doesn't look like you can do that. Now you may be able to, and we'll explore this because I've not tried it. We have a capital ship. What if we assign the role of mining for the capital ship? Let's take a look at the orders of the driller. It's changed its orders. It's now going to go try to follow the new fleet leader, which is a destroyer, but it still doesn't have anything about mining in the orders. So, unfortunately, as far as I can tell, there's no way to efficiently go have your miners in a fleet. Until that's changed, their best option may just be to not have your miners in any kind of a fleet. So you can right click and remove assignment, and that'll split that fleet up. And then you'd have to go back in and give that miners some basic auto trading commands here. So that's a quick little overview of what we were talking about with fleets. There's some real basic stuff, and if you didn't catch it, to disband a fleet, you right click on a subordinate and remove it from the assignment. You also cannot split it from the menu. You have to remove the subordinates one by one, as far as I can tell. So maybe eventually they will have a nice disband fleet option, which will automatically disband all the subordinates, but for the moment you have to click each subordinate and right click to split it off, or sorry, right click the ship itself to remove assignment to split it off. So real easy stuff there. You know, the only thing I really see this being useful for is setting up escorts, right? I mean, in theory, you even can just have it follow, but the default role of defending is probably better and more efficient, and make sure that your ship will actively engage as opposed to blindly follow the ship that's being attacked. So it's probably better to put it into a fleet. Even though in theory this doesn't feel like a wing to me, this is just an escort mission, it is what it is. So I hope that was at least somewhat useful for you folks. Let me know if anything changes, and what I'm going to do is probably revisit these videos, all the tutorial videos, in a couple weeks and months to see if any of the patching has changed how they work. But that is fleet management in a nutshell. I use it exclusively for defense. I don't use it for anything else at the moment, but more will come on that as I explore. So let me know if you have any questions, but otherwise thank you for watching, and let me know in the future if you like any other tutorial videos.